It's hard to point out which company first adopted the 996 working system in China, though it's gone hand in hand with the rise of the country's internet industry. The grueling work schedule has long existed at tech and internet companies, where programmers are expected to work for prolonged hours, beginning work at 9 a.m. and finishing at 9 p.m., repeated 6 times a week. The sector's work culture quickly spread, catching on in finance, real estate, manufacturing, and beyond. According to China's online recruitment service provider Zhaopin.com, more than 80% of white-collar workers worked overtime in 2019, and 77.6% of them had no overtime pay. The 996 work culture came under public scrutiny in China after a group of tech workers launched an anti-996 campaign on GitHub, named 996.icu. The name 996.icu refers to working 996 to the point of jeopardizing one's health and resulting in a stay in the ICU. Despite the 996.icu campaign, the prevailing workplace norm remains. Controversial remarks made by CEOs of Chinese tech giants regarding 996 have ignited the long-standing grievance against the exhausting working schedule. In an internal speech to his employees, Alibaba's Jack Ma said it is a blessing to work on 996, adding that if you are not well prepared to working 12 hours a day, then you should not join Alibaba. Although Ma's attitude received huge public backlash, the comment largely represented the mindset of Chinese bosses and internet companies. Richard Liu of JD.com said the company never forces its employees to work 996, but internal emails showed that JD.com will terminate those who lack fighting spirit, which is something Liu has repeatedly endorsed, and even displaying an example in his WeChat moment, saying that he works on 8-11-6 plus 8, which means working from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., 6 days a week, plus 8 hours on Sunday. The harsh reality is that a working week at some firms could stretch longer than the 996 norm. Some workers in China borrowed the term 007 to ridicule this phenomenon, which refers to working for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The tragedies of overworking culture has never ceased to make headlines. In late 2020, taxi footage went viral on the Chinese internet. In the video, a young girl was caught crying in a cab heading to work. And extreme cases are not uncommon. As a newly emerging sector, community group buying in China has seen fierce competition as internet giants join the race. One of the top players is Duoduo Maicai, which belongs to Pinduoduo, China's fastest-growing e-commerce group. One of its 23-year-old employees died after collapsing on her way back home from work in the early hours of December 29, 2020. Its official account on Zhihu, the Chinese version of Quora, responded to the incident by saying, "Taking a look at lower classes, everyone is sacrificing life in exchange for money. We're living in an era of striving with our lives." Pinduoduo was soon embroiled in a PR crisis as backlash flooded in, including the criticism that they were blood-sucking capitalists. The 996 working schedule is in violation against China's labor law, which stipulates no more than 3 hours overtime work per day and no more than 36 hours per week. But as the tech and internet industry becomes increasingly competitive, companies are racking their brains to maintain an edge. Companies face the challenges of having to rein in their costs, while also having to increase investments to stay relevant. This led to many companies trying to produce large profits using smaller workforces. Although companies said they don't encourage working overtime, in most cases, employees have no other choices but to voluntarily work extra hours, as lagging behind may jeopardize their jobs. Another factor behind the overtime working craze is the difficulty of finding employment. The number of new graduates in China reached a new high in 2020, standing at 8.74 million, which puts added pressure on the already tight job market. There's even a saying about China's job market. If you don't want the job, you can just quit, because there are hundreds of thousands of people lining up behind you who are willing to take it. After all, it's the generous income and bonuses that continue to draw people in. According to 36KR, the average salary in the tech and internet industry is around $2,100 a month for new graduates. However, the cost of the higher-than-average salary is sacrificed personal time, since in most cases, employees are not entitled to overtime pay, their hourly income is squeezed. According to Zhaopin.com, nearly half of all staff in the internet sector only receive 20 to 50 RMB per hour, while the minimum hourly wage in Beijing was 24 RMB in 2019. The Chinese government has also noticed the unhealthy trend. State-owned media China Daily and Xinhua News Agency have made their stance very clear that 996 work culture is by no means a blessing, and that this kind of working value should be stopped. But no further actions have taken place, partly because, in addition to tech companies, China as a whole has grown at a breakneck pace due to overwork culture.